Hey, welcome to Mad Dog's After Show. Come along for the ride with the Mad Dog and Cole, the Dark Shadow Farrell.
In the words of Gene Haas, if you can't beat 'em, just fold up the shop.
I decided to fly through the air and live in the sunlight and enjoy life as much as I could, and that's just what I'm doing.
Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure? Stay calm. Wait.
Man, oh man, welcome to episode 85, and thank you for those special words, Mr. Evil Knievel. Flying through the air, living in the sunlight, and enjoying life. And man, over some of our adventures recently, we haven't been able to live in much sunlight, but still enjoying life.
Yeah, absolutely. On the coattails of Memorial Day and 4th of July quickly approaching, we cannot go any farther without thanking our first responders and our brave men and women of the military. Couldn't do this silly podcast without all of their sacrifices.
Yeah, absolutely. And extra huge shout out and respect for the families of those at KIA, MIA. Thank you for your ultimate sacrifice. And while we're thanking people, we want to be sure and thank our great partners and sponsors, Kicker Performance Audio. Find them online, kicker.com, on Instagram at Kicker Audio, or on Facebook, Kicker. And every other Tuesday night at 7:30 Central on their YouTube channel and Facebook Live with their TV show Kicker Unmasked Live. Special shout out to my dudes J Dub and Ern, the producers, the men behind the screen, the magic wizards of Oz. And speaking of wizardry, how about the bomber over at Bomber Eyewear, Bomber Floating Eyewear, Bomber Safety Eyewear? The wizards of safety polarized floating sunglasses and a whole bunch of other styles. Man, over 40 versions of frames, and I don't even know how many lens colors. Go get you some. They are the blue jeans of sunglasses. You should own 10 pairs. Check them out, bombereyewear.com, or on Instagram at Bomber Eyewear, on Facebook, Bomber Eyewear. Of course, our dude Cole over at the Premix Podcast, not only co-hosting, producing, also MC work, announcing work, and very gifted at that. And of course, very talented behind the lens of a camera, sharing his passion for all things desert racing. If you're out at the desert race and he's going to be there, slide into his DMs on Instagram at the Premix Podcast and hit him up. He'll have some bangers for you, I'm sure. If you want to book him for an event, the year's booking up fast. If you have a slot car race specifically, let's get him booked. Yeah.
Let's make this happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's make some history.
Hit the love button when you find the @ symbol TAGPREMIXPODCIST. Ooh, blew that. CAST on Instagram.
85 episodes. That's not bad. You know,
Dude,
you can have a bobble one. There's a little head shake. You can have that one.
Yeah, we'll take that one.
We're not cutting this out. We're running that.
We'll take it. I'll own it. I'll own it. So it's the @ symbol TAGPREMIXPODCAST at the Premix Podcast. Of course, Kelsey Morel Film. Find her on Instagram at Kelsey Morel Film. She's back after a little hiatus and getting our videos prepped to go up on YouTube. be sure and find our YouTube channel at Mad Dog Space Media, MAddog Media. And if you need anything from film work, production work, beginning to end, still work, whatever you need, look her up on Instagram, send her a message at Kelsey Morel Film. Of course, all these new graphics you've been seeing on Instagram, crazy, some pretty wild stuff, and that's all compliments of Hey Geeks Marketing. She can do anything for you from social media programs to website building to website maintaining, social media maintaining, whatever you need. Yell, Hey Geeks, or just look her up online, heygeeks.com, or on Instagram at Hey Geeks Marketing. Dude, man, crazy. We're so blessed to have Mr. Ralph Shaheen on episode 84. What a great episode. We're reminiscing about a couple things. And I want to be sure and give a shout out to Ralph and his new TV channel called Speed Sport One. Look him up on Instagram at Speed Sport One, or go to your Amazon Prime and search SS1. Yeah, Amazon Prime, 24 hours of motorsports action.
And it's free.
And it's free. Good stuff. Check it out. I've been watching a little bit every evening when I can. Really thoroughly enjoying it. So
Yeah, they're on YouTube too. So once that algorithm gets kicking in, you'll get more and more stuff. Like I was saying last week, how I was getting super stock racing from Northern California, which I would never ever normally see. And now the algorithm's working for me, so I get to watch all this cool stuff. So thank you, Ralph.
awesome. Yeah, man. It's Father's Day just behind us there. And I actually made a road trip for Father's Day. And it was awful cool. It had a good time. I decided kind of last minute that I wanted to see my daddy, the pops, the Rev. And so I loaded up Wednesday and headed out early Thursday morning, took the old grinder because I wanted some extra elbow space. And man, ran up to Central Oregon and dropped in on my dad and mom on Friday afternoon. And appears just over 20,000 of you saw the reel on Instagram, on the Mad Dog Media Instagram, where I just popped in and said, how does a guy get a cup of coffee around here? And they were very surprised.
Yeah, they were definitely happy, but definitely surprised.
Yeah, it was a great weekend. It was also happened to be my older brother's birthday on Father's Day, so we had a nice get together and potluck meal over at his place, and the theme was Mexican food, so I ate entirely too much. And before we go any further, special shout out to his wife. She made Nanaimo bars. If you have not had a Nanaimo bar in your life, they are pure dessert heaven.
How would you compare it to Glamis Crack? If you could
Better.
only have one. Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm happy with your confidence.
Yeah. Oh, so good. Glamis Crack is a strong number 2, but Nanaimo bars, man, look it up online. You'll be blown away.
So it's a thing.
It's a Canadian thing. Yeah.
Oh, well.
I know
Wait.
you're having issues with the Canadians right now because the Oilers, right? So
It'll be fine. I mean, it's next game's tomorrow, so we'll be fine.
right. Yeah. Oilers will be fine.
Wow.
So-
Yeah. All right. Well, here we go. Starting off early.
Yeah, first punch thrown. Yeah, no, it's great feedback from our good friend and loyal listener Rob McDonald, man. Thank you, buddy. And he happens to be an Oilers fan. I was not going to get into the Stanley Cup playoffs at all, but Cole happens to not be an Oilers fan. And so there's been some rhetoric there, and we'll see how it all plays out. And I'll leave it at that. You're welcome to
Well,
have your say there.
yeah, I mean, to be fully honest, respectful, and upfront, the first hockey game I ever saw was it was the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim versus the Edmonton Oilers. And I remember saying, where are the Oilers from? From Edmonton. Where the hell is that? Canada. Where the hell is also that? And haven't liked them since that day. So let's go Panthers.
Well, I was even in the great Gretzky days, I wasn't a big Oiler fan because I was a West Coast guy. So
Right.
I was kind of a Vancouver Canucks fan.
Well, they were cool back
Um,
then too.
yeah, and then I learned as a kid, we watched tons of hockey. And this is a huge sidebar, but it goes back to, Father's Day and my parents and all this. But we're in Northern Canada. So we got Canadian Broadcasting, CBC, broadcasted Hockey Night in Canada
Yep.
every
Yep.
Saturday night. And quite often, my mom would make a big pot. We had a big fireplace in the basement, and she would make a pot of crock pot chili, and we'd have hot dogs and chili and potato chips and watch Hockey Night in Canada,
Oh, that sounds
So,
awesome. No, that's way
yeah,
cool.
there's some true greats back in those days, Um, and yeah, just, I mean, I grew up with it. I've kind of fallen away from it. I don't have live TV right now, so sometimes I struggle bus trying to find live stuff on TV, and I'll forget the playoffs are even going. But I went from Montreal Canadian fan to a Chicago Blackhawk fan to Vancouver Canucks fan. And then I realized I wasn't a fan necessarily of a team. I was a fan of goaltenders
Yeah.
and specific players, right?
Okay,
So
that's fair. That's fun.
yeah, like there's a goaltender played for the Habitat for the Canadians. In Canada, they call them Les Habitats.
Les Boo.
So, anyways, or the Habs, and
Habs. Yeah.
yeah, and his name was Glenn Hanlon. He was over 6 feet tall. He was a ginger, so obviously no soul, um,
Had
and
some
just
anger issues.
vicious in the net. Yeah, he was
Yeah.
just incredible, So, um, and Mahavovich, and I think that's how you say it, Chicago, had the biggest pads in the NHL. Crazy goaltending back then. A whole different story. No helmets, all that. So, it was I would like to think, based on my childhood memories, that it was a much better game back then.
Just different, I mean, you look at everything through rose-colored glasses when you're looking backwards for the most part.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, I would say it was a lot more grit, a lot more grunt, a lot more, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, a lot more machismo where now things are very finesse. It's a very fast game.
Yeah.
They don't shoot the puck anymore. Everything's set up plays. So yeah,
Yeah.
I would, I miss wood stick hockey for sure.
Yeah, it was definitely, it was different for sure, but I mean, we've had that discussion about motorsports 1,000 times.
Of course.
It's Formula One. Look at
Yeah.
Formula One, in the 70s compared to now, or IndyCar or NASCAR, even, any of those sports. And of course, you know, uh current MotoGP, and no hate on current MotoGP, but I think you would be hard pressed to find 5 riders in current MotoGP that could turn a lap, competitive with someone back in the day, like Rainey or Russell, or Lawson, or Gobert, God rest his soul, or Roberts. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, not to sound like old man on the porch, but I just think it's so technology based now, especially you see that in Formula One, but MotoGP is not that different, right?
No,
You see them go on the start line and they hit the front and rear button to set the bike down to where it's sitting on the ground so you get a better launch. I mean, I can see why riders wouldn't have the loyalty to the teams because it's like once Ducati or Yamaha is sticking their head out, you're like, okay, well, that's the bike I need to be on to win. It's not, you can't have a good day and make it happen anymore.
right, right. I certainly wouldn't say it's less talent based, but it's certainly more relied on technology.
Yeah, I think everyone who listens to this would agree on that.
Yeah. Yeah, and that goes for every kind of I believe
It's everything.
pretty
Yeah.
much every kind of motorsport. I mean, there's obviously some grassroots motorsports, but even like grassroots like American flat track, things are computer controlled, fuel injection, fly by wire throttles, and there's guys, very talented guys, like Dave Bush here in Havasu from Dave Bush Racing, that can go into those computers and look at that stuff and understand things like the timing on, your fly by wire throttle, um, and make adjustments for a bumpy track where you can actually slow the timing down so that the bike's not getting upset, if you will, by jarring the throttle.
Yeah, you could physically whack the thing on, but it would have a few millisecond delay and make the thing come out of the corner way, way better.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So it's interesting. I mean, far from MotoGP traction control, ABS, and all that crap that you know. But I certainly wouldn't take anything away from the guys that ride now.
No, you
Um,
can't suck and do it.
yeah, no, that's exactly it, and very few can. That's why it's a small group. They're still gladiators. Um, but the style is so much different now. I saw a clip on Instagram of Marquez getting violently pitched. Um, and per his explanation, the bike had the electronics had a fault.
Maybe they did.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I, Marquez, I think, is kind of a loose rider, if you will. I think he's got a lot of raw talent and just goes for it, and he's very gifted. Um, but if you're trying to slide a bike out of a corner and the traction control ABS or whatever it is they use burps it, you're
You're
you're in
high
a heap of
siding pretty
trouble.
fast.
Yeah, and that's exactly what this looked like. So it's
Wow.
crazy. But anyways, getting back, man, we just took a huge
So
roundabout.
yeah, the Stanley Cup, the
Yeah,
Marquez.
yeah. How many podcasts can do that in what, 2 minutes?
So
Whew,
far, this one.
super exciting. Um, yeah, man, I loaded up the old grinder and headed out and rolled up through the desert, um, right past Area 51, and I was watching the sky the whole time. I will say it's pretty impressive. They were doing some when I went by Creech, just north of Vegas, Creech Air Force Base, where the fabulous U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds are based, I believe. They weren't there, but I have seen them practicing out there before. But they were flying drones, big drones, aggressively, and it was pretty cool.
It's kind of the future, huh?
Yeah, it was pretty neat to watch, but nothing to see over Area 51, people. Um,
Nothing
you
that
know,
you could see.
nothing I could see for sure. And it was like just rolling, 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 dude. And it was crazy because, I think when I left, it was at whatever time, 6 or 7, I think 7 in the morning, it was 86 degrees. And when I got up the next morning and walked out of the hotel in Reno, it was 42.
Oh man, good thing you didn't get sick with that temperature difference.
It was crazy. It was just nuts. I was like, whew, man, that's fresh. So yeah. Um, I will say, when you come up 95 through Nevada, you go through this little town called Hawthorne, and there's a lot of little towns and ghost towns and stuff like that you go through, and you can see it on my video, but on social media, several highlight scenes from the road, if you will. But Hawthorne, Nevada is home of the largest U.S. military. I think we've talked about this before.
We have, yeah.
Munitions depot, and there's several bunkers there that I've always seen, and I really haven't looked at very much because of traffic or wind or whatever. And I just happened to get the proper sunlight for the one closest to the road, and you never really get a scope and scale. I mean, they're all camouflaged and all that, which whatever. But there's this one series. There's 2 sets of railroad tracks that go through the middle of it. That's like crazy.
Sneaky, sneaky.
It's huge. I mean, when you think about it, you don't really get a good idea. And then you start looking and you're like, holy crap. They could have 2 trains going through there at once. I mean, that's huge, dude.
Yeah, I was gonna say, maybe if you get too good of a photo, you might get pulled over. So,
Right?
as these camera phones get better, maybe just, take it easy.
Yeah. It's also oddly enough, that military base also houses a naval undersea warfare facility, which why, unless the theories about the tunnels from Walker Lake to the Pacific Ocean are true. So I'll leave that up to the listeners, and you can get a laugh or do some research or whatever.
Or this can ruin your day, whatever you want to think.
Yeah, it could open your mind, could blow your mind, could ruin your day. I'm here for you no matter what. So yeah, man, just rolled up, and then of course, up through the middle of Oregon, up along the Oregon Outback. Always a beautiful drive. Got in, managed to catch up with the Keeks at her work site, and then went back and surprised my folks and just spent a couple days there. Got to get out and have dinner with the youngest triplet and a couple of the grandbabies, and her husband, just great guy. Was so thankful to spend some time with the grandkids, and just crazy to think, oh, well, just drove like 1,100 miles or 1,000 something miles, just surprised my pops and hang out. And it was really cool at the Father's Day lunch. We're all sitting there, and my nephew, my niece's husband, is a technician, drivability diagnostic technician, specializing in European cars. And so he happened to be talking to my dad about something, and I was just sitting there listening to Pops, and he was talking about the old 36 Ford flathead race car that he built the motor for, and they raced up in Fairbanks. And it was an old Mercury flathead BW. I believe they called it BW7. That was the Mercury flathead V8 was the hot rod, you know. And I've heard the story before, but it was just great to hear him telling it, you know, to the next generation, if you will, and
Yeah,
how
maybe
they
get
got,
little pieces of different stuff that you didn't get the first couple times around, pick up on some
yeah,
new stuff.
yeah, exactly. And, you know, it was so, um, like, you know, so interesting, you know, and things were different back then. I
Yeah,
mean, that old Mercury, I mean, they he used to pull the oil pan after every race and roll new main bearings and rod bearings in it.
that's a lot of work.
And now you can't even find the oil pan on most cars in a day, you know.
No,
So
yeah, you open the hood, and it's all the plastic says, "Don't touch this. Take it to your local dealer. Don't look at it. Don't even point."
yeah, exactly. So now it was a good time. It was a great
It's
trip.
cool.
I turned around, rolled back Monday. Had a good long run Monday. Um, to the crazy town of Tonopah, Nevada, which was I think the year we did Vegas to Reno, Tonopah was about pit um 3, I think, somewhere in there. 3 and maybe 6 or 7. Um but yeah, and it's always interesting to me to run that route because that is a Vegas to Reno main route, you know. So I'm always just, you know, it off in desert racing memories while I'm
Having
driving.
flashbacks and thinking about what happened at this pit entrance and
Yeah.
what time you had to be here. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of history along that road, whether it's, military bases and ghost towns and race courses. There's a lot
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah. Really, really, really interesting stretch. If you haven't driven it, um, you know, and you're looking for something to do to use up a couple of days, drive it, check it out. It's pretty cool. So yeah, other than that, great trip. And you know, the old grinder, I rolled 240 on it.
Nice.
Yeah. And over the basically 2,100 mile round trip, uh driving around 80, which is close to the speed limit on cruise control. Um, she averaged like 20 for the whole trip, 20.3 or 20.8 or something like that. So
That's cool.
it's crazy, you know. Um, something that big at that kind of speed gets that kind of mileage.
And it's comfortable and it's got room and
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
lock your.
I've got the big screen, touch screen in the dash now, you know, with my Android Auto, Google Maps, and navigation and all that stuff. It's yeah, just a good old time. Of course, my premium Kicker Performance audio setup with the Kicker subwoofer that gets it done, and it makes it even more enjoyable for sure.
Which sub
But
do you have in there?
I have the L7 T for thin or truck 10. So I have a 10-inch, and it is actually it's being powered by their AI Key 501
Oh,
amplifier,
yeah.
single channel,
Hmm.
the intelligent DSP monoblock subwoofer specific amp. Wow, I'm
Pacifically.
having troubles.
What a road trip. No.
Yeah, yeah, I know. It's and you know, it's in Kicker used to make this what they called the VSS, vehicle specific, an OEM square subwoofer and under seat box for it. And of course the L7T performance specs are much better than the OEM subwoofer.
Oh yeah.
And so the box isn't even, perfectly matched to the sub, but it just gets it done. I'm not never disappointed with the sound in that truck.
No, and I will say this: every problem I've ever had with my kicker audio has never been kicker's fault. Let me just say that. You know,
Right.
I've been chasing gremlins since I bought my truck, but yeah, driving down the road the other day and my amp and sub went out, and it was like, no way, not again. Well, once again, not kicker's fault. It's the hardware used that was put in there that I'm chasing. So yeah, if you're on the fence about getting kicker performance audio, get it because that part of it will not let you down.
Right, for sure. Sounds like you need to make a trip out here with the truck so we can get you sorted out.
Yeah, I got some plans. So
There we go. So, yeah, man, it was just great, and it was great to hear Pops, talking about, you know, those days and the old racing history and super cool. My brother is incredible artist and super gifted when it comes to bodywork paint. um he's built some incredible show cars or bodies for show cars. And so his latest project is quite interesting. He took the classic Volvo 240 and put the Volvo 122 two-door body on a four-door Volvo 240 chassis. So he's got the four-wheel disc brakes. He's got the automatic transmission. He used all the center console, all the under dash, all the
wow.
HVAC, all the instruments, everything right down. I mean, the thing is so 240 that you open the 122 doors, which for those of you who don't know what in Canada, they called them the Canadian. In the US, they're called the 122. Look them up, Google them. They look kind of like a small Studebaker Commander. And very, very iconic body. And to put it on like a newer chassis, I believe the donor 122 was somewhere around a 64, and the donor 244 was a 84 or 85. And he used a non-turbo engine. And for Volvo people, it is the red block, but which is a good one. But yeah, with plans for either hang-on supercharger or an add-on turbocharger, intercooled, of course, either way. So, yeah, just creative. I mean, how do you take a brick and just meld the two together? And you saw some pictures. I sent some pictures of the dashboard. That dashboard is completely hand built.
Really? Wow.
Completely hand laid fiberglass, 100% hand built. The front end is about 6 inches longer than the Volvo 122 was. And all the panels in there, like you cannot tell from the pictures, you cannot tell from looking at it, but there's 6 inches of hand built material that match everything perfectly.
And I say this respectfully, that's so much work for something that is not going to get appreciated the way it should.
Right? I agree. I agree completely, but it's darn cool, So
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm a big fan of 240s, so
yeah,
it's
yeah,
got the guts that I like.
yeah, right. So, but yeah, really cool project. He's not completely done with it yet, but it's been kind of a labor of love and a couple years in the making and really coming out nice. So kudos to him. And yeah, man, it was just load up and head home and get back home and take care of honeydews celebrate Father's Day up there, and boom, out the next day. And we're back here and doing things and planning things, working on a little project with the Podfather himself, Mr. Jim Beaver, through Kicker. So that'll be interesting. And dude, how was your Father's Day weekend?
Well, the Father's Day
Was
weekend itself, unfortunately, didn't get to see either my dad or my grandpa. Um, just had some, to be honest, little family tragedy going on, so everybody was kind of spread out in kind of different parts of the state. So we're hoping to get it together here this weekend. But yeah, got to spend the day before Father's Day at Orange County Speedway or Costa Mesa Speedway. Um, which
Yes,
I love because of my father. So there's a little bit of an homage there. Speaking of 240 DLs and everything, but yeah.
right?
So no, I had a great weekend at the track. I got to go to Costa Mesa Speedway. The turnout was huge. Harley night is always a big deal because, well, frankly, guys bring out their Harleys and race towards the end of the night, and when it goes good, it goes good, and when it goes bad, it goes even better. So nothing like seeing guys break their ape hangers and then try to figure out how to get home or call in AAA. So the track prep has been really good this year. They've put a lot of love into it. Schedule's kind of funky. Normally it's about a 9-race season. Only 6 races are going to happen this year, which is really upsetting. Nothing during the fair this year, which usually kind of breaks up the season in the middle of it. But for Father's Day weekend, for Harley night, great turnout at Costa Mesa Speedway. What's really interesting I'm noticing is we're kind of at a funky time, and I would love for a Speedway fan to kind of explain to me why. But Division One riders we're a little bit lacking right now, and I know we got a lot of young guys that are trying to make it in Europe, sort of making their way out there, doing smaller division stuff. But the Division Two and Division Three is huge lately. It seems like I don't know if it was during the Pandy Wandy or what, and some guys decided to try Speedway, but we have a ton of young men and women trying Division Two and Three Speedway right now. So although there's not a whole lot of American heroes to root for in Division One, the sport itself seems to be doing pretty damn good. So it's a funky time, but it's an exciting time.
Oh, that's awesome. And I know you know a lot of those riders personally now because you've been going since you were whatever, 2 years old or 1 year old. And uh, did they run sidecars?
They did not. Nope. So you usually get, let me pick a good adjective here. You normally get a sideshow, this time was
Right.
Harley night,
Sure.
sometimes you have your sidecars and sometimes you have your knobby night. So yeah, this night was about the Harleys and getting those beef fed Americans out there.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I know Harley Night is always a big bash down there, and I haven't been able to get out to one. I really want to. I've been to a few of the speedway races with
Oh yeah,
you,
good
and
times.
good times for sure, most enjoyable. Um, you know, and it's a bull ring, people. I mean, if you're in the first 10 rows, you're definitely getting dirt in your drink.
Yeah. Had a brand
Like,
new hat that debuted and it got a little trashed, and I ought to send you a photo, but I had a adult beverage there, and by the end of the night, I mean, I had a good 1/8 inch layer of Costa Mesa in the bottom of my cup.
nothing like a little Costa Mesa Speedway to enriching the blood, right?
Little iron, little methanol, you know, little Metzger tire keeps
Well,
keeps keeps the blood pumping.
yeah, and that's the way you can truly say Costa Mesa Speedway is in your blood.
It runs through you.
Yeah, definitely, definitely, without a doubt. So, yeah, man, that super super jealous. Wish I could have been there. We definitely have to get together and do that.
Oh,
You
and
know,
sorry to cut you off, but while I'm on
yeah.
it, yeah, I saw our famous announcer Terry, and I said, "Hey, I just talked to Ralph Shaheen last week, and I didn't know you guys were buddies." And he said, "Yep, I know Ralph very well." And then I said, "All right, see you later."
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Very cool. Very cool. No, what I was going to say was something we haven't touched on that just wrapped up. Um, was you're going to have to help me out with the name, but it was the World Rally Raid Championship,
Yep.
Argentina. And do you know how you pronounce that? The something 40?
The Americans basically just call it Route to 40. That's the easiest way to do it.
Okay, route
Yeah.
to 40. Yeah. So, in which, our good friend of the show, Mr. Seth Quintero,
Awesome.
um, yeah, driving his what do they call it now? T1 or
Yeah,
um
T1 Unlimited, T1 Ultimate, T1 Ultimate.
Ultimate. Yeah, okay. Um, for Toyota Gazoo Racing and Red Bull, actually had some tough stages, but had some great stages too, and pulled off a stage win for a 21-year-old American to pull off a stage win on that platform
In a new to him car.
in a new to him car. Yeah, first year. Um, man, people, watch yourselves. He's coming. He's
Yeah.
fast.
Did you hear about that part where it was like he dropped a wheel like off of a bit of a ditch or a cliff, and they said, well, he was teeter-tottering for about 20 minutes. That makes you nervous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, kids got the fire, and you know, we're definitely blessed to know him, and great job, Seth and Dennis. Um, really, really enjoy watching everything you guys do. Uh, whether it's 12th or first, I'm there screaming it at my phone. So, um, yeah, super cool deal. And he did a great job, to be
Yeah.
able to come out and new vehicle and really beat everyone, like the best of the best of the best in the world on as far as World Rally Raid and Dakar and stuff like that goes. And he kicked their asses that day, you
Yeah,
know.
and it's such a different round too, where Dakar is a lot of open desert and very navigation focused, but this is a lot more like rally, very fast graded roads into riverbeds, into road crossings. So the fact that he does so well in the Saudi Arabian desert and then go do it in Argentina, I mean, that's just it's really stacking the chips up.
Yeah, and forest and all that, he really and that's not where he cut his teeth. Like that's a far
No?
cry from works.
Yeah.
So, or American desert racing. So, hoping to see him out in Vegas to Reno again. It'd be awesome to see his dad, Aaron, back in the right seat with him.
That'd be great. That would be
That'd
way
be
cool.
sick. Yeah. And for that, we had his dad and mom on episode
Oh
40,
boy, we do this every
50.
time.
I'm sorry,
No, you're fine. I'm just, I wish I
but
had it off the top of my head.
right after
Episode
they won Vegas to Reno, so that was a year ago.
53. Yep.
53. And I actually re-listened to that episode driving home, and man, it's I hear something different all the time. I pick up on different things, so I laughed, and there's some pretty funny stuff in there, folks. So
It's just a cool
definitely,
story that takes a place, across a day and all that happens, whether you're chasing or co-driving or,
yeah, absolutely, and family.
yeah,
It adds that really tight knit family. I don't know what you call it, binding that a lot of times you don't see, you
yeah.
know.
And
So
Amy's out there chasing by herself and craziness.
right, yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, it was a great episode. But anyways, yeah, I want to give a shout out to Seth and Dennis for such a great job in Argentina. What else you got, Cole?
Nothing. More Freedom Cups coming up. That's where they race trucks and buggies on the motocross track, and there is a lot of carnage, and it is very exciting. So that is what I'm looking forward to next.
At
Unfortunately,
Glen Helen.
Glen Helen, yep,
Yeah.
my mother G.
Right.
So, but other than that, just a whole lot of life insurance. That's what's been going on here.
Yeah, well, it's man, we got some good stuff coming up for sure. And got a couple of projects that I'm working on, and a couple of projects Cole and I are working on. And dude, it's been, just great. And I want to take just a minute and let everybody know that the Viking has released, or will be releasing very shortly, book 2. It's now available to pre-order online on Amazon Prime. And book 2 in her trilogy of the Everything series, and that is Everything and More. And man, look it up, get it ordered, you won't be disappointed.
That's exciting. I felt like the second book came so fast. I feel like the first book just got released. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, she's on a mission, doing a great job. And yeah, check it out. Amazon Prime, or you can get the link to purchase the book on Instagram at KDM Productions, or KDM Publishing, I believe it is. Sorry, my bad. So, yeah. Other than that, man, we got some stuff. We got 4th of July coming up, which should be exciting times. Next month I've got a couple of builds going, and then next month, around middle of the month, we'll celebrate our 2-year anniversary. And I think we'll do a broadcast from where it all started, Kicker Arena Cross, Gallup, New Mexico.
yeah, you were just there too.
I was just there. Yeah. Kicker
Back
Monster
again,
Truck
again, again.
Nationals. So I'll be back there for sure. And other than that, man, be sure and check out our Instagram, the @AFTR_podcast. Keep up to date on all things new and exciting. Speaking new and exciting, I want to be sure and let people know Kicker Performance Audio has just released the Warhorse series amplifiers. That's right, folks. The ones you remember from way back when are back. The legendary Warhorse series, of course, the Solo X competition subwoofers. I've had the opportunity to hear the combination of both, and literally it'll blow your hair off. It's crazy. And yeah, man, just so stoked to have great partners like Kicker Performance Audio. Find them online, kicker.com, on Instagram @Kicker Audio, on Facebook, Kicker, and every other Tuesday night live on their YouTube channel and Facebook Live, Kicker Unmasked Live TV show. They're actually doing their next one will be next week, and they will be doing a big training and information on subwoofers, amplifiers, and making big bass. It's worth checking out. Kicker.com. Of course, Bomber Eyewear, Bomber Floating Eyewear, Bomber Safety Eyewear, or get all three like I have. I am wearing the Mad Dog edition, we proudly call it, Boogie Bombs, which are a limited edition white frame with the trademarked Bomber monoseries print with black logos, the full blacked out logo. Yes. And of course, mirror green frames, because that's the Mad Dog way. in ANSI 87 OSHA approved polarized safety lens. So pretty much however you want it, you can get it, even all the way through prescription. Check them out, bombereyewear.com, or on Instagram at Bomber Eyewear, on Facebook, Bomber Eyewear. You will not regret it. Of course, the Premix podcast, so grateful for Cole, all he does, and the time that he puts in on this and the Premix podcast, his announcing work, his MC work, and of course, the time spent behind the lens of a camera out sharing his passion for all things desert racing. Check him out on Instagram at the Premix Podcast. That's the at symbol ThePremixPodcast. Of course, Kelsey Morrell Film. Find her on Instagram at Kelsey Morrell Film. Hit her up for all your still and video needs, from pre-production to post-production, everything in between. Kelsey Morrell Film has you covered. Of course, for all your website, social media campaign, website maintenance, whatever you need, yell Hey Keeks, or just look her up on the interwebs at heykeeks.com, or on Instagram at Hey Keeks Marketing. Tell her Mad Dog sent you. Speaking of Mad Dog sending you, when you hit up bombereyewear.com, when you get to the cart, tell them Mad Dog sent you by entering MAddOG20 in the discount code. Receive your discount and let them know you listen to Mad Dog's After Show.
Best code ever.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And man, we need to give some shout outs to our loyal listeners. And thank you. You all know who you are. We appreciate you, appreciate the feedback. And we'll see how the Stanley Cup finishes up. And
Exciting either way.
yes, absolutely. Cole, what else you got for tonight?
It's really hot in this office because I forgot to open windows, and apparently it's summer now. So other than that, make sure to rate, review, subscribe on your favorite streaming platform.
Yeah, we have them all. Your favorite podcast listening place has us. Look us up. Mad Dogs, MAddOG'S, AFTR show, and come along for the ride with us. We'd love to have you. Stick around, subscribe, download every episode, make us feel good about our numbers. No, seriously, you don't have to download, just listen.
Over and over, even when you sleep,
We want you to listen. We want you to enjoy it. We hope you have fun along with us, because we sure enjoy doing this. And, with that, special shout out to our troops, our service people all around the world, our first responders, boys in blue, the boys in red or yellow, I guess, is firemen. Of course, medics and all those people, POWs, and of course the families, MIA, KIA. And man, thank you so much. With that, God bless this podcast. God bless our troops. God bless America. Mad Dog out. Robbie,
That's how you the podcast.